Happy Halloween! I'm Dustin. Under that mask is Brent. Before we get into it, quick shout out to our weekly pick'em winner. It was my mom. Congratulations, Velma out in Lovettsville. Brent will get in touch with you and get your address.
Still gotta do my job. Terrible.
But we haven't done Buy Low Sell High in a while, so let's get into that. Brent, give us some Buy Low guys.
Alright, the first guy we're going to talk about is Ray Rice. He has absolutely not lived up to his top 5 billing where he was drafted, but he's got a great playoff schedule down the road. If you're one of those elite teams and you're looking pretty good to make the playoffs, we say do anything in your power to get this guy because he's really going to help you in those weeks.
Next, we got LeGarrette Blount. I absolutely love this guy. I forgot to talk about him in the waiver wire show, but this guy needs to be picked up if he is available in your league. And if he was picked up already, throw out a low ball trade, try to get him. This guy's going to take over the duties out there, and I think he has a huge upside.
Alright, now we got Miles Austin. Obviously, he takes a hit with Tony Romo going down, but we're saying play off the fear of those owners. If people are really scared about Austin, throw out some low ball offers or even decent ones. You know, if you can get rid of Kenny Britt, Dwayne Bowe, Wallace, those guys have been playing great lately, and get Miles Austin in return, we love that trade for you.
Next, Sean Moreno. He just came back from the injury. He looks pretty good. I think he has a good second half. If you can get him cheap right now, I think they're going to have to start going more towards the run. They can't have Kyle Orton throwing the ball 40 times every game. Look for Moreno and have a decent second half. Try to get him on your team cheap.
All right, now we're going to talk about some of the sell high guys, and I'm going to start off with Dez Bryant. Now, he's coming off that 3-touchdown breakout performance. So his owners, so if you got him on your team, try to sell him. He was all over ESPN, and we love trying to trade guys that they're coming off of a huge week.
Next, we got Kenny Britt. Same deal, coming off a huge week. If you look at his yardage totals up until last week, they weren't that impressive. He was getting in the end zone, but Tennessee's still a run-first team. Look for Kenny Britt's numbers to come crashing back down, especially this week. Try to dish him if you can.
Now we got a couple running backs. The first one's Ryan Terreno of the Washington Redskins. Since going into the starting lineup, he's had over 100 yards in both games. Now, it might be a little bit tricky to trade him. We think he does well for the rest of the season. However, if you can get one of those top 15 back, top 15 receiver form, we say go ahead and pull the trigger.
Yeah, make sure you're getting full value for him if you trade him, because we don't think Portis is going to get back into the mix. All right, last guy I got is LT. This guy is old. He's looked great this year, but Sean Green's just waiting to get those carries. If LT slows down at all, look for Green to take over. We think trade LT now before he gets hurt.
All right, Dustin, it's time to answer some of those forum questions. The first one comes from KW Grad Drop Rig 808. He wants to know which quarterback should he be starting this week, and he's got a ton of options here. Obviously, he'd be picking up one of them up. He either goes with his regular starter of Tom Brady versus Minnesota, Fitzpatrick against the Chiefs, Henne versus the Bengals, Castle against Buffalo, Bradford against Carolina, Palmer against Miami. You can rewind it if you need to. Listen to all those options. But Dustin, who do you say he goes with?
A lot of options here, a lot of options. Brady's been pissing me off lately. I own him in one league. Decent matchup against Minnesota, but I actually like Henne this week. Smack Talk community, 33% said Tom Brady, but I think Henne going up against the Bengals could have a lot of success. I think they're going to have their hands full with Brandon Marshall. I could easily see 302 touchdowns.
Side bet here, I'm going Tom Brady. I think he really wants to stick it to Randy Moss. So
we'll see. All right, moving on. Colts fan for life wants to know Brandon Marshall at the Bengals or Brandon Lloyd at San Francisco this week. 83% said Marshall on the homepage.
Yeah, I don't hate Henne this week, and I totally agree with our community. No brainer. Go with Marshall over Brickhands. All right, Dustin. Erickson78 wants to know, should he start Bess at Cincinnati, Woodhead versus Minnesota, or Driver versus the Jets? Community says 85% Bess.
We didn't purposely go
Love the Dolphins.
We didn't.
Love them.
We didn't purposely go all in on the Dolphins this week, but Devon Bess, the guy, I think Marshall and Bess, there's plenty of passes to go around for both these guys to have a good week. Bess has been finding the end zone a lot lately.
3 in a row.
I think he has another good game. Let's get into those studs, and sleepers. We'll start with my pick, and sorry, I had to do it. My stud's Brandon Marshall. I love him this week, especially in PPR leagues. I think this guy racks up a ton of catches this week. My dud is Kenny Britt going up against one of the surprising best defenses in the league in the Chargers. They've looked great. Kenny Britt, I don't think he has a repeat performance, not even close. And my sleeper, LeGarrette Blount against Arizona. They can't stop the run. I think this guy has an impressive game. I would actually start him over a decent amount of running backs this week.
All right, my stud's going to be Pierre Garçon against the Texans. They're ranked 32nd against the pass. Everyone's hurt out there. I expect Garçon to have a monster day. My dud is Benson against Miami. Again, all in on Miami, I guess. They're 12th against the run. They really shut down Mendenhall last week. I just don't see Benson getting in the end zone, which is really going to hinder his fantasy production, obviously. And my sleeper is John Kitna. You know, a week of practice under his belt, and he's going against the Jags. They suck. They're just god-awful. Putting Kitna, he's got a lot of talent around him.
All right, let's get into Mike's picks. His first stud is a sell high guy we had, Ryan Terrain. You might want to wait until after this week to sell him high, going up against Detroit. They have a hard time stopping the run. His dud, Brandon Jackson. You know, Jackson's had a few decent games here and there, but going up against the Jets, probably going to have just kind of a mediocre game. Don't expect big things out of Brandon Jackson. And his sleeper, Stafford against Washington. He's coming back. Washington's one of the worst against the pass. He could have a good game coming off the injury. So that's it for our Halloween show. I hope you.
Halloween.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm wearing this. I'm Dustin. This is Brent. We'll see you in those forums.